Welcome to Let's Talk About the Deep Stuff. I'm your host, Sean Kneese, and on this show I have off the cuff and candid conversations about the bigger topics of the world. And for this episode, I'm going to play the second half of my conversation with my friend Jorge about the darker side of humanity, whether it's nature versus nurture that makes people evil, or whether we're all capable of evil, or whether people are inherently good or inherently bad. And it goes into a lot of different things. I just want to warn listeners this episode and the first half was pretty dark. Gets into the darker, uh, more disturbing side of human nature. We analyze serial killers and like people like Jeffrey Epstein, and but this is an important conversation to have. To understand why humans are capable of this evil. So anyway, without further delay, here's the second half of the conversation. And you've been warned. You've been warned for those who don't want to hear anything disturbing or whatever. And anyway, here it is. I hope you enjoy it.
We'll always think of monsters as like these creatures with like sharp teeth and slimy skin, and they're coming out of the closet and as monsters and stuff like that. Shit like that you see in like horror movies. But they they look like ourselves. You know what I mean? Like people with hats and shirts and shoes. They're just normal people that do bad things. And when you always think of like these evil people, you always think of like these random solitary killers or something like that.
Nah.
And then the real evil people are the ones creating stuff that's in your food to mess you up, creating laws that kind of shackle you, creating what is it? Creating divide within a country. These are the real monsters at the end of the day. We study all these serial killers and all these like mass shooters and all this shit,
Yeah.
but at
Well,
the end of the
that's
day,
how Ted
you
Bundy
know,
got like away with a lot of stuff because he appeared like this kind of like
uh-huh.
normal
Yeah,
looking
he was,
guy,
dude. He was who was he working for in the?
like
He
some
did
law
politics
firm.
for a little bit.
Yeah, I think like they saw
No,
a wanted poster of him and like like a sketch of him, and his friends jokingly said, "Oh, he looks like you,"
no,
but they didn't know that
he
really
looks
was
like
him.
Ted.
Yeah,
Yeah, he worked for somebody that's running for president at one point. And Gacy was there too. Gacy was there's a picture of Gacy with I think with Reagan's wife. I think it was Reagan or Jimmy Carter. I can't remember who's the first lady at the time. There's a picture of him like there shaking hands with her because he was in politics too. And then you hear about Dennis Rader, and Dennis Rader wanted to become this like person that in the town that was big. They all want to be bigger than themselves than they are and have that power. And that's what a lot of these like execs and CEOs and all that shit. And you've in the last couple of years, you've probably seen how much they make.
hmm.
They an hour they make so much money.
Do, do you
And
think there's like maybe a need for the like the darker side of human nature that just needs to be kept in check and is in balance, or is it like maybe we can't because maybe if we're like maybe if people maybe there's a reason we have that for like survival, like maybe if someone's too kind then that could be like weak because then it's like they can't, maybe we need a little bit of that, but it's about kind of balancing those two elements rather than I always get into like this light and darkness thing, but I feel like that kind of applies to this a bit too, like
yeah, no, there is I would say a good balance of it because you need to have some type of especially in this day and age, you got to have a little bit of aggressiveness to you, like if it just in case of a situation comes around that you can defend yourself. But at the same time, you have to have a good heart to help people. You know what I mean? Um, you can't be so cold hearted, so jaded, where you just find you're just a pessimistic person for the rest of your life. You got to find a little bit of hope and a little bit of good in everybody in a way. Um, but I would say that, in all honesty, there has to be good, there has to be evil for good to exist, right? But some evil, I really don't think it should exist. You know what I mean? I don't know why it does. I don't think there should be people raping people. I
Yeah.
don't think there should be pedophilia. I don't think there should be like murder in the sense of like, when you're the way people are killed. There's certain like things that human nature can do, the worst of
Yeah.
humankind. I don't think that should exist. Like it
And
shouldn't,
but I guess that's
but
why
it's
we need
here.
like the Batman, like like the
Yeah, yeah.
strong. We need to be the strong, like strength, the goodness, like we
Mhm.
kind of need like a strong. The good people can't do nothing. The good people
Yeah,
can't be weak. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's kind of like almost like a question for like the police force because the police, as they're supposed to be the ones that have to help out and
Well, then
solve the cases
then
and
there's
stuff
a
like
lot of
that.
them that just go in there to abuse their
They
power.
don't
Like,
care. Yeah, they
yeah,
don't give a shit. There's a lot of them don't care at all. There's a lot of good cops. There's a lot of shitty, awful cops out there.
yeah.
You know.
I guess
Um.
it also depends on like their That's why they really should do like psychological profiles of like who's getting in, because I
Mhm.
think like the reasons for getting in is like a big thing of it. Like some people,
Yeah.
like a good cop probably just wants to get in because they think they're serving their community, and a bad cop is like
Mhm.
like maybe they were a bully in high school or something, and like they just want to push people around and have power over people. And
No, yeah. I got stopped by one about a month ago. He was a power tripping piece of shit, and he stopped me and said that I ran a light and that I was tailgating a car, and I wasn't doing any of that. The problem is I don't have a dash cam because if I have a dash cam, I would have been like, look, and but he walked up to my car, ticket in hand. Without getting my license, anything, he had the ticket in fucking hand. He was ready to give that to whoever the next person was that was gonna pass there. And I was the unlucky bastard that got to that corner, and then he followed. And I was like, "What the hell, man?" And the thing is, too, like being that I am Hispanic, it's when a cop stops you, it's not like
no,
a thing where I can just be like, "Oh, it's nothing." No. Dude, I've seen my skin tone and darker get shot for nothing
oh
when they
shit,
get a traffic stop. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like, we've seen Facebook Live videos like that. And I don't wanna be that person. I don't wanna be in that situation. So when they stop me,
yeah,
I comply. And I know that, there are people out there, "Oh, no, you have rights, you have." Yeah, but my rights don't fucking matter when I look how I look. Because at any moment, I could have that one trigger-happy fucking cop that will just, come up to my car, and when I go to grab my wallet to take out my license, he immediately goes for the gun, shoots me. And that's it. That's
yeah,
all it
because
takes.
they're just going with like their own. But when I used to have like now now I don't have any trouble. When I used to have like long hair, like
Mhm.
I used to have trouble like that. But like it's like you could cut your lawn hair, but you can't change your skin. But they definitely do that like profile, like they'll treat someone different like based on their
Yeah.
and like race is like a big thing, or they'll look at someone like, oh, he looks like a stone. Like obviously that's different than not the same thing as like racial profiling. But I'm saying like
Yeah.
it happened to me I look like, oh, he has long hair, he must be bad. And then like meanwhile, like there was this one guy just like ran through like a red light like right near me because he looked like the all American like clean cut type and
Mhm.
everything. So
Yeah, I'll tell you another story about a cop running. Um, I was driving with my ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend is white. She was Irish and like British or something. Like she's just white, you know. And I'm Uruguayan. I'm Hispanic. So we're driving, and I'm driving in this primarily white town. There's not many Spanish people there, and I get stopped. And the cop comes up, goes up to her window, and flashes light on me, and flashes light on her, and then asks her. She's like, he goes, "Are you okay, ma'am?" The f-? And she's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you're not, in any distress or like if I'm fucking kidnapping her, dude?
yeah,
Like, I'm like, that's my girlfriend, dude. and he's all like, "Oh, license registration." He talks to her in a nice, calm voice. He talks to me like I'm a piece of shit. And like, dude, I've had one almost pull a gun on me once, and another stop. He stopped me because of an expired registration sticker. No, not registration, inspection sticker, right? And I just I hadn't gotten to the inspection. I was only like, honestly, I was only like a couple days late because it was the month before, but I hadn't gotten to the thing or whatever. And I forgot. People fucking forget. You work, you go in and out of work every day. You're not always thinking, oh, my registration. So he stops me for the registration, and I'm like, okay, yeah, officer, right? And he's like, oh, and another thing, you shouldn't have that hanging from your rear view mirror. And I had this little like a little trinket or something, right? So I go to reach for it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take it down. And he's like, not right now. He yells out, and I see him. Go for the gun.
Oh shit.
He went and unclipped it from his fucking holster. I'm grabbing a fucking trinket, like little, like I think it was one of those like pine tree things. I had it hanging from the rearview mirror. That's literally where everybody hangs shit from. He stops me because of that, and then hits me with that. He hit me with like almost like a $200 ticket. But in the moment that I reached for that, he easily went for his gun. My arm is here, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm not reaching down.
That's
I'm
what I
not
get. Like,
reaching.
why they always reaching for the gun? Because like I feel like there'd be like,
You have tasers. At least tase me. Don't
yeah,
fucking shoot me. You know? Like, come on, man. Like, the first thing you should do if you're a police officer and you're dealing with like a hostile person or whatever, the person is unarmed, you shouldn't shoot him 85 fucking times. Have we seen that in the past? Yes, we've seen 85, 75. We've seen 10. We've seen 15 shots. We've seen this one woman, lady cop, like what was it, like 2 months ago, unload 2 clips into a fucking apartment.
oh
What the hell? Yeah, you didn't see that video? It was all over the place. This female cop went up to this
I think
apartment
so.
and
I've been keeping up with like the news and stuff, but like not as I kind of fell out of it, like not as much as I used to, but
dude,
like
she unloaded and put it in another mag and another clip and kept going. Like,
oh
come
well,
on, man. You can't have a officer like that. You can't have these cops that are fucking scared, man. You gotta they gotta go through some vigorous type of mental tests, like you said, you know, that they will not crack under the pressure. They're supposed to be the
no.
society peacekeepers,
Yeah,
and they're
I feel like with George Floyd, like that was the one that
oh
like
yeah.
got like even people that didn't see before to see like this is like
I
that.
mean, the thing is, like, how many times do you need people to really wake the fuck up about it? Like, you had Rodney King getting beat the fuck up by 8 cops, and all of them got, and just because they said he was high, yeah, he might have been high, he might have been whatever, but you don't beat a person to a pulp like that and have
Yeah.
8 officers doing it. Like, come on, dude. You could see him like literally crawling on the ground. Anyways, um,
Well,
you had
that's another thing. It's like I kind of that kind of relates to what we're saying. Is like empathy. You know, it's like also are able quicker to like use violence or um do things to people they don't understand or they view as like the other or different for them. And then when there's like a power dynamic or it's too like that flow that adds into it too. So like
oh
that's where
yeah.
some like cruelty comes from too. Is like just like not empathizing with that person as a human being. Just like you view them as just like what the race is or
You don't view him as an individual. You view him as like a thing that you've been told about, like a story. Almost like when they would told tales in the old days about like, ooh, 2 villages down, there's a troll that lives under a bridge, type of shit like that. And you should be afraid of this troll, blah blah. And then when you go there, find out it's not a troll, it's just a person that lives under the bridge, and everybody doesn't like him because he smells, because he lives under the bridge or whatever. but he's actually a good person. But the whole time that you lived in your village, you were told that that guy was a monster and he would drown you in that lake, in that river or whatever. You see what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
old tall tales that people tell, spread bullshit, and then some people keep it inside and then don't meet the person or individual. They just see them as this story or influence that's been told to them time and time again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And to me, I think
like,
that's where a lot of that's where the real problem is. Even more so with even more so than like the overt racists that are like KKK or whatever. Like because those
mm-hmm,
groups are like kind of fringe now. But the problem is the people who are
mm-hmm.
just like the problem is like these unconscious kind of biases that are just there that
It,
people don't know how to condition themselves out of. Or
yeah, because if you see it with children, like little kids, man, I've seen plenty of examples, lots of times where kids like the they don't see that race. They just see another kid,
yeah,
and it's when they grow older in high school. I don't know if you notice this too, but like the transition between middle school and sixth grade, middle school, and high school is where you gain new friends, lose friends, and then like you become part of a clique or on your own or whatever, right? Um, Friends that I was friends with like in sixth grade and maybe a little bit in seventh grade. By eighth grade in high school, I wasn't friends with them anymore. They weren't friends with me because I didn't fit a certain dynamic or like group setting or whatever.
yeah,
And you see that as people get older, like people start noticing the differences and they become
yeah,
bigger than they were before. And that has to do with that I think has to do a
yeah.
lot with their influences of their friends and their parents,
I feel
Parents
like definitely like my creative interests have helped me because it's like you meet people like from all
from
different
all walks of
backgrounds that
life.
are doing the
Yeah.
creative stuff. Also,
Mhm.
also just being a little bit like I guess like the outsider, like the unusual kid in the school. Like I kind of always empathize with people. Like, oh, they're viewing this person as different. Like they don't get me, so it's like they must like they're probably getting this person wrong too. Kind of.
Yeah, let's see, like, when I was in high school, I was friends with, like, people from all different walks of life, different groups, And, I've always tried to be that way. Even when I went, like, to CCM, I had friends from all walks of life. Man, me and you became friends on the bus,
Yeah.
And, like, it's just when you meet individuals and you actually have conversations with them, that's when you see them as individuals and not their background, not their ethnicity, not where they grew up. You don't see none of that shit. You learn about it as they tell you, as you become more and more friends with them, but you don't leave that as like the initial approach, like, oh, he's this, so yeah, nah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
You have to have an open mind, man. You have to have an open mind to a lot of shit in this life. Um, I was asked today, like earlier, I was like, oh, do you believe? No, that was yesterday. Do you believe in like those like monsters and cryptids and stuff? I'm like, to a certain degree, I have an open mind with them. Like, I would love. I don't go as far as to say they're legit because there's not much evidence, but I'm never gonna completely close the door to that. Where there's enough people on the planet that's seen weird shit. That's like, are they
yeah. I
all making
definitely. Are
it
you
up?
talking about
Where
like
it comes
spirits
from?
and stuff, or?
Oh yeah, spirits, mythical creatures and shit,
Oh, yeah, I have a lot of shit I can get into about that because I've actually been exploring like occultism a little bit recently. Like my friend,
yeah.
yeah, and I
Okay,
definitely
yeah.
know there is like some reality to some of that stuff. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's what took me away from being an atheist. So
yeah.
I've seen a lot of weird shit
I
that
almost feel like
I
this is
can.
becoming two podcasts in one right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's we're all over the place.
yeah,
Whoever's gonna listen to this is gonna be like, wow, these guys are ranting about a bunch of shit. But
yeah,
hey, man, it's good to do it.
yeah.
Um, I
That's
just
kind of like the podcast I like though. Is like when it like the long
when you
form.
just chat, yeah, when you
Yeah,
just chat and you just be real about it.
yeah. There,
So there's a lot. What's up?
Oh yeah, there was like one more point I wanted to get into, but
Go ahead.
it might be too. It's like because I know you're a fan of Breaking Bad, and like one of
Oh
the
yeah.
themes in Breaking Bad was like you do one bad thing, it leads you to do another thing. You lead one bad, like Walter White,
Mhm.
like he slowly started becoming more bad. But then some people say, Walter White was bad from the beginning, and this kind of unleashed it. But I think there was also that. Like, do you think that's possible? Do you think like anybody could go down that rabbit hole and just become?
I think okay, so I'm in the opinion that Walter White, that's who he always was. That's my opinion. So I'm on that side of things.
Yeah,
But can people over time do? Yes, I think so. But with Walter White, I feel that he was always that way. And he was just never given the opportunity to really show that off. And as soon as he got a little gain in power, he he started getting worse, you
yeah,
know? And I feel like he tasted a little bit of that power because you see it from the very beginning, especially like you remember that sequence when he like what was it? It was like it was maybe the first episode, honestly. It was like the end of the first episode. He goes home and he has sex with his wife, right?
mhm,
But the way he has sex with her, she's like, "Walter, is that you?" Like she's never felt him like in that way, I guess, right?
yeah.
That's because he felt that power.
He
He's
was
like,
like he
"Oh."
was like repressing. He was passive. He wasn't ever good. He was just passive. But that's what they
He
say
was
about like
exactly.
nice guys. Like a lot of people think they're nice guys, or they're
Yeah,
just
I've heard that
passive. They
before.
aren't really nice. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to.
It's always weird when a guy says to a girl, "I'm a nice guy." Like, why
Yeah,
are you saying that? Why are you announcing that to the world? Why do you want to convince us so badly? I'm a
yeah.
nice guy.
Like I'm a
And
nice
there's
guy. Why don't these whores want to sleep with me? I don't know.
yeah, yeah, dude. Like, that's usually what follows. I'm a nice guy. Is that like
Yeah,
why don't they want to fuck me or why don't they want to be with me? Blah blah. That's usually the case of it, and that's a control issue. That's a manipulation tactic as well. Trying to kind of like, oh no, because most people are told like, oh, you have to be with a nice person or blah 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 as they grow up,
yeah.
and then you got this asshole going around telling, I am that nice person, and then you find out, no, they're not that nice.
Well,
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
flips into what we were talking before. Is like
Mhm.
like what I was saying was that like is you need a little bit, like you need the strength, not necessarily the bad, but like because if you're kind and you're just nice, but you have no strength and you have no backbone and you have no
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I
You're
could
you're a
fight if
floor
I
mat.
had to, then it's like then what is it? If you can't,
Oh, I could fight if I want to, if I had to. Is that what you said, or no?
not necessarily like even physically, but I could stand up for things if I had to. Like
Okay, well that would make so in that sense, I would say if you could stand up for things that like you could fight for, then you should stand up to certain things when you see it out in public. Now, if you don't do shit, which happens a lot, right? Because nobody wants to be in. Because how many times have you seen somebody try like what was it? This guy in New York not too long ago. I think it was like either last year or earlier this year. He's arraigned for helping out a woman on the subway, and then he's the one that got arrested. I was like, what? And there's another like there's certain instances like that too where people will help somebody in a situation, and then they're getting sued. you know.
yeah,
But what I'm saying is like if you say you're a good person and you stand up for certain things, stand up for the things that you believe in and you feel that are honorable and moral and whatever, then good, right? And if somebody goes against that moral compass, yeah, fight them on it, right? Have that little bit of I wouldn't say evil, but strength, like you were saying, right? But if you are just say like this good person, but you ignore all the bad all the time or whatever, then are you good or are you kind of more cowardice? Are you more in the sense that like you're kind of like an ostrich? I put my head in the sand, I don't see what's going on, so I don't really care, kind of thing. So it's like I don't know. In all honesty, this whole conversation is always a double-edged sword. You know, it's always one side or the other. So it's never direct. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, some things are direct. You know what I mean? I can honestly say, hate fucking pedophiles, hate rapists, and hate fucking murderers, murder innocent people. You know what I mean? That is direct. But certain other things of what we're talking about,
Yeah.
not really direct. It's
Well,
here and there.
people can be pushed to
It's like
do
yin and
evil.
yang. What's up?
I think most people who do evil are like pushed to do evil, like especially like in groups or like desperate times.
Yeah, there could be a sense to
But then
that.
there's people who are just like, well, like the ones you said, like pedophiles, rapists, murderers.
Mm.
But then there's also people like that just they aren't quite that bad, but they'll do bad acts because of like the situations lead to that or whatever.
I mean, in if you're, do you mean like in military sense,
I guess I'm
like
thinking
military
like
action?
if a group's been oppressed, they'll maybe lash out and they'll like kill some people that like as like a revenge, and maybe some innocents
Yeah,
die within that.
kind of like what I said earlier, like the means justify the end kind of thing.
Yeah, or like like sometimes people are pushed to that point, and then
Yeah,
sometimes people are just born
I
evil.
mean, I get it. Is it right though? I don't know.
No, like I don't think it's ever right to
You
kill
know,
an innocent or something, but it's like, but I think there's
yeah.
some people that maybe they do it and they
I
wouldn't,
mean,
maybe they wouldn't have done it otherwise.
there's terms to kind of lessen the blow a little bit, like like they use in the military, collateral damage. Like, oh,
Yeah,
a couple innocent people, whoops. But
yeah. But at the
it's
end of the day,
never
there's always a
right.
choice. Maybe those
Hmm.
people were always bad, and that just gave them the opportunity to do bad because they could
Like
get away with it.
Walter White,
Yeah,
in a sense. Yeah.
because I feel like a good person, even in that situation, wouldn't do something like that.
I don't. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, You can. If we go by what the Joker said in The Killing Joke, and he said that one bad day, that's all it takes. It's just one bad day from me turning into who I am and you turning into who you are. But this is the thing, Batman, right? I know it's comics, but Batman and Joker are a prime example of what is the extreme, right? One extreme is the Joker. The other extreme is Batman. There's no middle between them. They're both at extreme ends. The Joker is just chaos, murdering. He's just a complete monster, right? Batman is a monster in himself, but he's a monster that's trying to do good because he beats the shit out of people for good. Joker just does it all for bad, all for himself. He doesn't do it for money. He doesn't do it for blah blah. He does it really because he loves to fuck with Batman. That's his thing. He's like in love with Batman. And the second one is he just enjoys the chaos. He enjoys That's what makes him happy. But those are the two extremes right there, you know? Um
But maybe that's like kind of like what it relates to, like, because we were saying like having strength and everything. It's like Batman, like if he doesn't
is a
control
bit
his darkness, he could turn
he could
into the
become the
Joker.
Joker.
Maybe
Mhm.
it's about like managing and controlling your darkness, but
Yeah,
like having
exactly.
strength, but you don't let it get out of control. To
I mean, in all honesty, I'm going to say I think every human being on this planet has the ability to do very fucked up shit, you know? It's that human in us that controls it. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
the moral compass that you have within yourself is what controls or keeps the wolves at bay. You know,
yeah,
because there's that old saying that's like everybody has a wolf in them. Depending on what you feed
yeah,
that wolf is the type of wolf you're gonna get.
yeah.
You know,
But you need a little
S-
bit of the wolf probably to
a little bit you have
yeah,
to because it's just like like with detectives, for example, when they're trying to find a criminal, these guys gotta be they gotta have a little street in them. Like, did you see the documentaries on them trying to catch the people in the mob? It was called like Fear City.
Oh, I didn't see it. No, no. I
All
saw it
right.
about like I watched something on like Whitey Ball. I've watched some mob documentaries, not that one though. Yeah.
So the cops or FBI agents that are going after these mob guys, they're like they have special guys on those units that were street kids that were doing fucked up shit when they were younger that now are cops. but they have that background of the street and the thuggery and everything to use that for good now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you take a little bit of what the bad could have taught you, excuse me, and you use it for good.
And wasn't that kind of what Dexter was about too? Like he was his
Yeah.
dad kind of trained him, but I don't think he totally was good Dexter though. So
I honestly I will say I hated that show. I couldn't. You know what it is? I could not stand that actor's voice. The main guy that plays Dexter, his voice just
oh,
bothered the fuck out of me. I could not
yeah,
watch it.
I actually meet him. I actually met him in person briefly. He was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
nice, but uh,
I couldn't. I he's the show. What I've heard, it's a great show, and I was able to watch a season and a half of it, but I just couldn't. I don't know. I just there's just certain things sometimes I can't explain why, and I just don't like it. I don't. And I was like, his voice was always
yeah, I kind of felt that way
whenever
about
he would narrate.
I was more that way about you. Like I don't really care about this guy. Like
Wait, what? What do you mean?
about you, the show.
Oh. I was like, wait, what do you I thought
Well,
you
no,
meant
it's
me. I'm
just
like,
like
wait,
I
what?
just like I don't really care about. I guess when I was watching, it's like I don't really care about this guy who like stalks
Yeah,
women.
yeah. I have never really got into that show. I know my girlfriend's into it. I'm not. I know she likes that show. She's watched a couple of seasons. I'm not into that show myself. It's a weird show. A lot of women are obsessed with that show,
Hmm.
which is weird. But which is something that's very familiar with a lot of serial killer documentaries and murder stuff and true crime. A lot of women really listen to that stuff more than men. The way that I got into like studying the human, well, I always was fascinated the human mind and courtship and all that stuff. I've been reading up on it since I was like 11 years old. I
Hmm.
just liked how the human mind worked. But what got me into studying the serial killer aspect of my camera just like went out of focus. I don't know what the hell happened. What? I don't know why it's all blurry, but it is. Anyway, what got me into the all that was my sister. My sister was studying criminal psychology, and she actually had to interview a couple of messed up individuals, and then I would kind of watch stuff with her, and and that's where I was like, you know what? That's I kind of want to study more of why these you know real monsters of society do this, and that's what and went from there
Yeah,
to doing a semester of psychology
yeah,
and learning. And just that little semester of psychology, I learned so much of how the human mind works and things in my own life and why I you know through my teenage years, why I acted out a certain way, and why this happened and this and that. And it's like it's pretty fascinating the way it
yeah.
all works.
Yeah, and that also got me to think about like those women that write to serial killers and like I think
Mm.
Richard Ramirez like had some women that loved him or like
Yeah,
this
he
one
had
that got
a
married.
bunch
Yeah,
of wives, man. I never will understand that. Like you are literally their prey. This is they prey on you,
yeah,
and you want to like, um. It's funny enough because that same serial killer Ramirez called it um safe danger. It's like when you go to the zoo and you look at a crocodile or a tiger or a lion, you know you're not going to get attacked by this animal because they're behind a glass wall or behind bars or something. So like it was like safe danger for these women to be in contact with these serial killers because they couldn't really do anything to them because they're locked up. So it's like they're like this close to a very dangerous individual,
yeah,
but they know that they're going to be safe. But, you put them in a room together and there's no cameras for this guy. Yeah, good luck with being safe because he
yeah. I
would have
mean
torn
they're
them
already
apart.
in prison, so they don't have anything to lose. So.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. But you put them with a wall or like a meeting where there's an officer there. They're not going to do anything, so it's safe. It's like when they did their interviews, when like the news reporters came in and did interviews with them. They didn't kill the news reporters because they can't. They have everybody's watching them. So it's safe danger. You have like this lion sitting across from you that kills gazelles, and they're not gonna kill you because they're blocked away. They're
Yeah.
controlled. So it's controlled, safe danger.
Yeah.
And Ramirez was the one that coined that. And yeah, I'll never understand that. And there's there's this whole, like, my boss was telling me about this whole show called Prison Brides, about these women from all across the planet. They're marrying these prisoners that are getting out 50 years from now. And I don't know, man. Just some
Yeah.
people
So
like
then,
that.
what they'll be together on the outside when they're like in their 80s, or
Yeah, or maybe these ladies like the freedom of not really being around the guy all the time, and they got him in prison as emotional support, and then they go on and do their own thing. I don't know. I
Hmm.
really don't
Like
know
not
how
like
that
not
works.
wanting a real. It's almost like it's almost in some ways it's almost more interesting to get into their heads than the killers even.
Yeah, because it's like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Because like you look at those documentaries of, like, Ted Bundy, and the entire audience in the courtroom, it's all young women, and it's like,
Well, like he
do
had a
you?
fan club, or
Yeah, dude, he had, like, these women just, like, they're like, oh my god, it's like, he's scaring me, and it's like, why are you there? Why are you there supporting this person? First of all, who killed and viciously murdered all these women, and they would go back up there and have sex with their corpses,
yeah.
and you're sitting here like, wow, he's gorgeous. Like, what? Like, what? That makes no fucking sense. But it's very common. It's very weird. I don't. But then again, I see it with men too. That men do that shit too. They'll see those um uh pictures of, like, those mugshots, or those, like, very like semi or very attractive women. They're in
Or
jail,
like the Manson
and
girls or whatever.
like, no, even today, man. There's a guy. It's a parody account, but I would not doubt there is men out there that, like, he would post a picture of the girl. And it's an attractive girl. She's in her mugshot, whatever, right? And it'll show, like, why they're in jail, and it'd be some fucked up shit, like they child abuse, or they killed someone, or they did this or that. And yeah, plenty of guys be like, "Oh, I can fix her. I would." And some of them are jokes, but some of them I think are real. Like, there's people out there that's like, you know what? I could be the person to change them. Uh, I don't know
Yeah.
about that.
I mean, I honestly I think it's just like, some people it's just like, "Oh, I
Curiosity.
find this person attractive. I don't give a fuck like what they did." Like I think that's just like how some people
Ugh.
think. They're just like,
Yeah, that's man. I'm sorry, but that's weird, man. I don't know.
yeah, it's like
Like,
the
you,
what's that called? Like the fermines or whatever it's called. That's like that thing that goes off like when somebody's just like I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, that's just so bizarre to me. I'll never understand why why they do that.
Well,
Like,
well,
what
and
is
like what you said, like some people like to fix people, but that's kind of an extreme to like want to
that?
fix like a
Yeah,
murderer in
that's a
a.
good yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, because there's some people out there that do dwell in those relationships where they try to fix the other person, and it's always a disaster. But I mean, some people think they can. I don't know. I don't. I think at a certain level, some people never change. There's
Well,
certain
people can
people.
change if they're self-aware. Like if you're able to look at your.
Yeah, I think, but I think as well, like, when you get to a certain point with your brain is like stuck in old habits, and stuck in, like, how they always say, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks or something. And some people, if they it's all about how you perceive yourself, and just how disciplined you can be, that you can change. But if you just let go to um your wants and desires all the time, which these people do, um, you're not gonna really change. You just, because sometimes the things that you need to do are not the things you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, nobody. I know there's people that like to go to the gym. I don't, but I need to start hitting the gym and start taking care of my health because I'm getting older. But I don't want to do it. But I have to. So my discipline is not that great right now with that stuff. Now, in other stuff, my discipline is good, but I just, I don't know. You know?
Yeah. I guess it takes work, like, but I guess it gets harder to kind of reprogram or recondition.
The brain, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, I feel
yeah.
like at least like self awareness and like seeing where you went wrong in the past with certain things. Um, One also understanding the why, like psychology, or like even kind of
Mhm.
psychoanalyzing yourself. I mean,
Yeah,
just
I've done that in the past when I took that psychology class, and then I just, like, I didn't keep going with psychology, but I did go on my own with
yeah.
psychology, getting certain books and reading, about
Do you think it
different
helped you
theories.
recondition yourself at all, or like
Oh, it
having?
definitely did. It definitely did. I was not I would say, when you met me, I was already away from a lot of bad stuff, but, like, um 3 or 4 years before that, before me going to college, I was out being a crazy kid in the street, man, hanging out with the worst type of people sometimes, and, I mean, they were my friends, but they weren't actually the best members of society. They were all, gang related, this and that, and, you know, and, I but it takes something sometimes too, like, it was, my cousin passing away that really changed me. So when my cousin passed, I didn't wanna be around that shit anymore. I didn't wanna be around those bad people, and it took a lot to change, and it took a lot to, because you're dropping a bunch of people you've hung out with for years and whatever,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot. You have to
He
cut
was he the one
so
you
many
like?
things.
Because you painted somebody. I remember a long time ago. You're on my street.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
The
I
one
got
that
his,
was your friend that you painted. Yeah.
oh, no, that was my other friend that passed away, but
Okay. Oh, but you painted your
I
cousin too, or?
yeah, I did the paintings of him in school. So, yeah, he had passed away in 2007, he passed away. Yeah, 2007, he passed. It was, it was rough. But after he passed, I was just like, I need to change everything. And then my other friend passing away a couple years later, that would change everything too, career-wise and what I was doing with my path in life. So it's like my cousin's death made me want to change. My friend's death made me follow a new path. So it's like almost it works in steps. And it takes a lot to change. It takes a lot to, you know? But I feel like sometimes at a certain point people don't really change. I did it when I was younger, and it was a process of years, and you have to like stick to it, and you
Well, I think
change.
it depends on. Like I said, I think it's like a matter of self awareness, and because I feel like
How much you
I've become like I'm still like I feel like I've been growing more like the past few years, and I'm in my 30s, like even more so than I did when I was young. But I feel like I'm constantly like improving myself and working on. I guess because that's always like a big thing for me is like kind of diving deep into myself and kind of
Mhm,
just like and that's some of what I've been doing with like the show, even like the solo episodes, like kind of just like going inward and like talk about things that have like
mhm.
worked for me over the years and like how I've kind of like improved through just like introspection and like changing certain things and all that.
Yeah, it's, self-awareness and self-retrospection, being retrospective to, yourself and the things, like, your life in general, and analyzing, um, conversations you probably had with friends and so on, is very important to, like, bettering yourself, you know? Um, there's certain times that, like, let's say you handle a situation not great, you can learn from that. As long as you're always learning from interactions and taking something from every friendship, I guess, like, when you learn things from people, you grow with people. As long as you're, like you said, self-aware of that and always taking that in, that's good. That's good for growth. But if you stay stagnant and you're, like, closed-minded and you just, "This is who I am," like, you're never gonna grow, you're never gonna change, you're never gonna be evolved to a better person, because life is, a short journey. As many people may think, like, "Wow, I can live till probably 80, 90." It's gonna go by so fucking fast, man. You know what I mean? It almost feels like I was 9 or 6 years old or whatever, like yesterday, babe. You know what I mean? It just it just it goes fast, and as the older you get, life just look how fast this year's going. We're already in April. How
Yeah.
fast is that? It's insane.
Yeah, and like we were saying earlier, like I can't believe that was like over 10 years ago, the CCM stuff, and like,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
It goes so quick, and as the older you are, the faster it goes, and there's like no stopping it. Just you know.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, just gotta make the most of the time there is, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Especially in the
So,
days we live in now.
yeah, well, this was a good chat. I think I might split it into two episodes,
Yeah, man, that'd be great.
like part one, part two, because there was a lot of good stuff in here. Not even just on the topic, but like other stuff as
Hmm.
well. But I think that's
Yeah.
but that's what I like the best about like the podcast I listen to is when like usually like there's a main topic, but it gets into other stuff you wouldn't expect too. So.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time with one of my good friends, Ted. But we never talk about stuff like this. It's all about toys.
Okay.
We talk about the '90s toys and stuff. Like, no, I haven't really talked about topics like this on other podcasts because, like, I, the podcast I do is mainly, geared to like people that love dinosaurs and Jurassic
Yeah.
and toys and stuff like that. These are real subjects that we talked about today.
Yeah.
That
Well, on this this show's let's talk about the deep stuff. So it's about the deep
this
shit.
this was deep shit, man. There's a
Yeah.
lot of there's a lot more we can get into, but I think we're pretty good at right now.
Yeah. Well, we can always do another show on another topic at
Oh
some point.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. There's a lot. We can do one on a lot of things going on in the world right now. That we can hone in on one subject and talk about that for a while.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah, man.
definitely. But yeah, so I think this has been a good chat. If you want to plug anything, I don't know if there's anything you want to plug or anything you want to say, any final thoughts too. Or,
Um, I want I would say that like people just need to, especially in the times that we're living, we need to start being more, especially in this country. We need to be way more united, way more, and we gotta let those differences go, man. That's what's killing everybody. I mean, we're letting certain entities just ruin us as a nation, as people of the world. You know what I mean? Um, I think people need to start opening their minds up a bit more than being so closed-minded to certain aspects of the world, and hopefully things can change. Or I don't know, man. We are a nuclear society now, so you know what I mean? Like, we're at the end of it all. Like, if things keep escalating, anybody could drop a fucking nuke, and that's it. That's the end of
yeah,
us.
I mean that's kind of what we were
Nobody
hoping
wins.
we would have. We're hoping we would avoid with like mutual. Just if everybody had a nuke, like we wouldn't.
Uh huh.
But it's not stopping
No,
people from.
no, nobody wins in that situation. No one.
Yeah.
So,
And that's another actual episode I wanted to do was like on echo chambers, like the whole like divide and conquer thing, like how people need to listen to each other more, like understand empathy and stuff like that. That's another
mhm.
episode I want to do at some point. But yeah, I guess just
Maybe we could do an opposite one, like where we just talk about the good
oh yeah,
of the world. Just talk about good things that happen, new science discoveries, stuff of that sort. It's really nice to hear about, rather than all this, really heavy stuff.
yeah.
You know.
Well, we could like
But yeah.
deep happy stuff. I guess we could.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
we could do a flip one that's like the good stuff going on in the world today or something.
hmm
Yeah.
there's a lot of good stuff going on too, but there's a lot of bad.
Yeah. Well, we could do. Well, I feel like if we did one like communication and like empathy and like listening better, that
hmm
could be like a positive one. But yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that's about it for let's talk about the deep stuff.
All
I
right,
guess
bro.
yeah. Check it out on Spotify, wherever you get your shows.